You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Coming up, Misty White from Feeding Incorporated comes in the studio to tell us all about an upcoming dinner and silent auction that you do not want to miss.
And a house fire in Jasper County causes the total loss of one house.
And take a look at this. This is a live feed from WFTS in Tampa. We are just days away from this guy, Hurricane Ian, making landfall in Florida. We're going to have the latest on this hurricane and, of course, our mild forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. A Missouri house burns to the ground, leaving only the foundation. It happened around 2 a.m. Saturday morning. Dunwich Fire Department was alerted to a house fire in the Prosperity area. The house, located in the 19,000 block of Eli Road, was engulfed in fire by the time the Jasper County deputies arrived. Investigation determined the resident was not home at the time of the fire. Mutual aid arrived from Joplin, Webb City, Oronogo, and Carthage. Fire was declared under control at 2:55 a.m. No firefighters were injured. The cause of the fire is unknown at this time. Harbor Village Museum celebrates its history on Sunday. The museum is celebrating its history by demonstrating different events such as churning butter, hearth cooking, making sausage, old-fashioned games, gardening, and making dyes. Executive Director Reynolds shares what the museum's history represents.
And so for us, it not only represents ecology, it represents history, and it gives our students hands-on education to be able to provide the knowledge of what we used to do and how we used to live.
Reynolds says the site gets over 200 visitors daily. First Free Will Baptist held its annual roundup on Sunday. The event featured horseback riding for kids, a cornhole tournament, and a lawnmower train. The event gives parents an opportunity to catch up and fellowship.
I think the energy for the event this year, people love horseback rides and they love good food. The adults get to sit and visit, which not very often do you have a time where you get to sit outside on Sunday afternoons like the good old days and sit around and visit with each other and then have the kids entertained while you're there.
The event also featured a potluck. Every fall, Festa Italiana makes its way back to Frontenac, Kansas. Festa Italiana gives people the opportunity to see the heritage of Southeast Kansas and why it is the way it is today. Funds raised go towards student development grants and semester scholarship to all Frontenac High School graduates.
I think it's just the whole community atmosphere and the support of the school in general. Frontenac has a great thing going here where they really have strong support for the schools. The community is pretty tight-knit. A lot of celebration of heritage, so it's just great to get out here and be among people and for a great cause.
Scholarship funds dispersed by the Frontenac Education Foundation. Carl Junction hosted its CJ Bluegrass Festival on Saturday for families to enjoy. The event featured bluegrass singers from across the nation, as well as vendors, live music, food trucks, and kid activities. Organizer says celebrations like this bring the community together.
I think it's important to have a festival that has been around for a really long time. It's a family tradition to a lot of people that I talk to. So they grow up coming to a festival and it brings the community together and it brings Carl Junction together and it gets people a chance to experience Carl Junction and what we have to offer in our city.
The event was attended by more than 13,000 people. Well, the Pittsburgh Art Walk held its 16th annual Fall Art Walk in downtown Pittsburgh. The Art Walk showcased work from local artists. Artists used the event to sell their work or gain exposure. Art Walk is open to all kinds of artists, new and old.
Well, for me, this is the first time sharing my art with the community since I was in high school. So it's been 20-some years ago, 25 years ago. So it's really exciting for me. It's a little bit nervous. I'm a little bit nervous about it, but just getting out there and the supportive community is really great around here.
Pittsburgh Art Walk is planning another event showcase event in November. Some Carthage students learned about different countries from international students. Columbian Elementary in Carthage and Missouri Southern International students partnered together to help the kindergarten classes learn about cultures. 4 students from Chile, Saudi Arabia, Japan, and South Korea talked about their home countries, language, traditions, music, and more. This week, the school is focusing on teaching kindergartners about the different diversities in our surrounding areas.
I'm hoping that this makes a lifelong impact on the students, just that they understand that there are so many cultures out here, and that it's a beautiful thing that we live in to learn about so many different people and where they come from.
International students loved hearing from the students from Chile because she spoke the same language. Another student told us he just loves the food, chili.
A slight difference between chili and Chile.
But those are the type of responses you can expect from kindergartners.
Absolutely.
Like we were just talking about, I would love to ask kindergartners, that age group of kids that have moved here from other countries, to like talk about their home country and to see what their impression of it is.
Yeah, and here's the thing is I think it'd be great to also bring on kindergartners from America and see what they know or what they think.
Or different parts of the United States too. Yeah,
and that'd be another fascinating thing. It's something we're gonna have to do at some point. We got a little weather history for you because back on this day in 1898, it's a long one, but I'll skim through it. There was a school teacher that saved 40 children from death in Meryton, Ontario when she spotted an approaching tornado, managed to lead her students to a safe corner. Now, unfortunately, falling debris did kill one student and left several others injured, but this is back in 1898 when we didn't have a clear understanding of exactly what tornadoes were supposed to look like. 7th and range line looking pretty good, and we are cool. Look at this, 47 degrees in Joplin right now as we start the day. 48 Yates Center, 49 Iola, 51 Fort Scott. We got a lot more 40s on the board as we start the day, putting us upwards of 10 to 20 degrees cooler now than when we started yesterday. Good news for allergy sufferers as the pollen counts are lower for today. We're looking at a 6.2 out of 12 and a 5.6 out of 12 for tomorrow. Going through the rest of the day, partly cloudy skies. We will warm up to a high of 81 degrees, and we will cool off tonight under mostly clear skies to 53 degrees. And then as promised, the latest on Hurricane Ian, it is a Category 1 storm, and it is still expected to track into Florida's west coast and will approach as a Category 4 hurricane with winds of 130 miles an hour, gusts higher than that.
All right. Well, up next, why cycling while under the influence is dangerous.
And later, M. Night Shyamalan's newest psychological thriller heads to the woods. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
In Health Watch this morning, pediatricians are raising an alarm about the dangers of ATVs, plus a new concern for children infected with COVID-19. Michael George has a look at some of the day's top health stories.
Children who have been infected with COVID-19 show a substantially higher risk of developing type 1 diabetes. A study in JAMA Network Open tracked more than 1 million patients 18 and younger. Researchers found a 72% increase in new diagnoses of type 1 diabetes within 6 months of an infection. Hospitals around the country are seeing the dangers of cycling while under the influence. Researchers at the University of Arkansas say from 2019 to 2020, more than 11,000 people were treated in emergency rooms after riding bicycles while high on drugs. The most common, methamphetamine and cannabis. And doctors say too many children are dying in accidents involving all-terrain vehicles. The American Academy of Pediatrics released an updated policy statement saying no one under 16 should operate or ride an ATV. Those who do should stay off public roads and never ride at night or with passengers.
We've got a very fall-like start to the day with a lot of 40s on the board. We're going to talk about that full forecast a little later. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Right now we have a good cause here in the studio that you need to support, and it comes in the form of Feeding Incorporated. They're having their annual fundraising dinner and silent auction that comes up a week from today. And here to tell us about it is Misty White, the Assistant Director of Feeding Incorporated. Misty, welcome to the show. Good to have you, bright and early. Just so folks know, we are live. This is very early in the morning, so.
Yes, it is.
So tell me a little bit about what you have coming up.
Yeah, well, we're really excited. We have our annual fundraising dinner and silent auction. We've been doing this for as long as I can remember being a part of the Feeding Incorporated family. I became a part of Feeding Incorporated around 2013. I started helping out with the event about 2015 or 16, I really don't remember. But yeah, we are really excited. It's our first fall annual fundraising dinner and silent auction, and so we're really excited to kick it off in the fall this year.
Why is it so important for you guys to be able to have this happen?
Well, actually, operating funds come a lot through donor support. We are not government funded at all. And we pay for our food. We do buy food from Ozark Food Harvest. We do get a greatly discounted rate, but we still have to pay for the things that they pay for, and as well as our electric bill. And you all have an electric bill just like me.
Oh, yeah.
And so we also have things like insurance for the building, gas for any food we go and pick up. We do retail pickup. And other things like that. And so we have to keep our costs down and keep ourselves in business.
And do you know roughly on average how much you managed to raise through the silent auction and dinner?
So approximately, I feel like that last year we raised, I think probably $3,500. Yeah, so approximately that. I think it's been, the year before that it was, well, let's see, we didn't do it the year before that. COVID, forget that. 2019, it was probably around about 2,400, and it's just kind of, it's been growing. So.
How far does that money actually go? And I mean, would it be helpful to get more than that?
Yes, it would very much be helpful to get more than that. Our electric bill this summer was $1,500 for 1 month. So. Wow.
And so, I mean, that's half of what you raised last year with this event, just simply going to an electric bill, not to talk about your other costs, and then the food itself. So, I mean, this is something that folks do need to get out to. They do need to support. You did bring some things with you. What are some of the items you have here? So
I have an Andy Thomas print, a fabulous Andy Thomas print here. That Andy and Dina Thomas donated to us, as well as an Andy Thomas puzzle. I have other puzzles as well that I didn't bring for the sake of the room in my car. And Coral Thomas from Coca Art Gallery and Studio donated these original picture cutting boards that she took. And really so nice. She donated those. I have tickets, 2 tickets to Queen Esther at Sight and Sound Theaters in Branson. I have, this is so unique right here. This is a really cool experience. I went to the Carthage Olive Oil Company, and this bottle is empty. But when you take this certificate and this bottle, you will get the most unique tasting experience. Their shop is so full of vinaigrettes, or like balsamic vinegars of different flavors and olive oils of different flavors, and they will walk you through there and let you have different tasting, and then you can choose the bottle of your choice.
All right.
And then Lambeth Auto actually donated this Scentsy, as well as an oil change valued at like I think it was $70, and wow. So and then I have a half hog from Clouds Meats, and I have oil change from Jackson Tire. I have another oil change from Jackson Tire. I have, again, I have lots of auto things. I have a rotate and balance and an oil change from Reeves. I have a 4-wheel alignment from Hunter Tire.
Well, just some fantastic prizes.
Yes.
I mean,
I have one, I have to mention, this is so cool. I have a month of music lessons from the Maple Leaf Music Company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so we have some really neat things lined up for you. I have a lot more than that, but I'm not going to.
So that's the thing. That's just a small sample of things available. Real quick before we're out of time, the event itself, when is it, where is it, what do people need to know?
So tickets are $30. It is October 3rd at it's at 6:30, and it is going to be at the Carthage Water and Electric Community Room, 627 West Centennial. You can call 359-8800. You can buy tickets online at Facebook, and you can also get tickets at the door.
All right, Misty, thank you so much for coming on.
Yes.
So that's about the event. We'll have the information on our website, and a little later on our show, we're going to hear more about what it is exactly that Feeding Incorporated does for the community. We'll be right back.
It's time to honor today's four-state hero, Motor Sergeant Howard Litch. The Galena, Kansas native served in the European theater from 1943 to 1945. To Howard Litch, we thank you, today's four-state hero.
Bridgerton fans get a first look at the prequel in the works. The new guests check in for a season of dark comedy at the White Lotus in Sicily.
Trinity Chavez has your eye on entertainment.
So few brands have meaning anymore.
The second season of The White Lotus returns to HBO October 30th, this time set at a resort in Sicily. Most of the cast is new, but Jennifer Coolidge and John Grease return as Tanya and Greg. The first season recently won 10 Emmy Awards. Filmmaker M. Night Shyamalan is taking his newest psychological thriller into the woods. In the film Knock at the Cabin, 4 strangers take a family hostage and say they must choose which one of them must be killed by the others to save humankind.
The 4 of us are here to prevent the apocalypse.
The film hits theaters February 3rd. And India Madhavu will play the younger version of Queen Charlotte in the new TV series, Queen Charlotte, A Bridgerton Story. Fans of the original Bridgerton have come to know Golda Rosheuvel as the Queen. The two actresses work together in the new series that chronicles Charlotte's rise to prominence and power in Britain's Regency era.
We have this wonderful kind of tag team where we high-five each other. Do you know what I mean? And the baton is passed on, which I think is a real beautiful metaphor for the older and younger. Do you know what I mean? It's really cool. I love it.
No word yet on when the Queen Charlotte prequel or Bridgerton Season 3 will hit Netflix for streaming. That's your eye on entertainment.
Certainly some interesting shows coming up.
Have you ever got into Bridgerton?
No.
I've
never even heard of it till
I watched
today.
one episode of it and I was like, maybe, we'll see. I have a list of shows that I'm watching, so.
Okay.
Maybe
See,
we'll
I'm
get to it.
progressively getting into new things as time goes on. By new things, I mean old things that are new to me. So,
yeah.
Quick check of your forecast at 7th and Rangeline. We got a really nice sunrise start the day. We are also pretty chilly. 47 is where we are in Joplin right now. We got a lot of 40s sprinkled across the board. 48 Yates Center, 46 Pittsburgh, Lamar, 48 in Nevada, 46 Carthage, 45 Neosho and Anderson, which puts us still roughly 10 to 20 degrees cooler now than we were 24 hours ago. There's also good news for the allergy sufferers. As we promised with the system last week, brought allergy levels down. Pollen count 6.2 out of 12 today, 5.6 out of 12 for tomorrow. As we go through the rest of today, we're going to warm up to a high of 81 degrees under partly cloudy skies. We'll be mostly clear as we head through the overnight hours and a temperature dropping back down to 53 degrees. Of course, all eyes on Hurricane Ian, now Category 1 hurricane, as it's set to track into the west coast of Florida over the next few days. So this is by Tuesday. I cannot get that to change. I apologize, but this is Hurricane Ian, Category 4 storm. And as we head into Wednesday, it encroaches on the coastline near Tampa. So even They shows us hanging out in the 80s, so some fall-like temperatures for sure. And then we drop back into the 50s under partly to mostly cloudy skies. More of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:28. The Parsons, Kansas Police Department investigates the shootings of 2 dogs. This comes in the wake of other attacks on dogs. One happened in the 1500 block of Grand Lake late Friday morning. Witnesses say a man between the ages of 20 and 40 and dressed in camo shot a 3-legged pit bull in one of its legs. The nearby Garfield Elementary School went into a partial lockdown. The dog was later euthanized. The second attack happened just before 7 p.m. in the 2600 block of Stevens. This time, a pit bull was shot but is expected to survive after surgery. Police are looking into possible similarities to 4 other attacks on dogs in the Parsons, Kansas area in recent years. In early 2021, a dog named Blue was shot and killed. And then on March 3rd of last year, another dog named Zeus was shot but survived. December 3rd, Ranger A Parsons police officer's personal dog was found decapitated. And later that month, on December 29th, a fourth dog, Draco, was found dead wrapped in a blanket near a bridge. Police say Draco's body had trauma from a choke chain. $34,000 reward was offered for information about the cases last year, but so far, no arrests have been made. Oklahomans will not have the opportunity to vote on the legalization of recreational marijuana in November. The state Supreme Court rejected a request from supporters of the question to add it to the November ballot. Problem is the length of time it took to get the question through legal challenges in court. Officials say there just was not enough time to print ballots for the November election with the question on it. The High Court did say the question could be added to a future election. Arkansas, however, can expect to see the issue of recreational marijuana on the November ballot. Arkansas Supreme Court is allowing a ballot question about recreational marijuana to proceed. State panel had blocked the measure from the November ballot, arguing it did not fully explain to voters the impact of the amendment. Supporters of the measure argued the board's criticism went beyond what was required for ballot initiatives. State's High Court agreed and overturned the board's decision. Bourbon County Sheriff's Office asked the public to keep an eye out for a wanted suspect. Officers say J. Terrence Scott Jr. is wanted in connection with a felony pursuit in Bourbon County. They say he may be armed and dangerous. Officers have recovered the vehicle the suspect was riding in and contacted other suspects involved in the case. However, the 6'6", 280-pound Scott escaped the area. Police say they discovered narcotics and firearms in the suspect's vehicle. Deputies encourage anyone with information regarding the crime to contact the sheriff's office.
And we've got a nice fall-like start to the day across the area at 7th and Rangeline. Good sunrise, 47 degrees under clear skies today. We've got 48 Yates Center, 50 Parsons, 49 Columbus, and 46 as we start the day in Carthage, putting us upwards of 20 degrees cooler now than where we were 24 hours ago. Now, again, these temperatures that we're seeing are seasonable. It's just they're a lot cooler because we've been so above our averages for the last several days. Pollen counts getting lower, 6.2 out of 12 today, 5.6 out of 12 for tomorrow. And as we go through the rest of today, we're looking for an afternoon high of 81 under partly cloudy skies, and we'll clear out, be mostly clear tonight. Temperatures drop back down to 53 for an overnight low. And of course, all eyes on Hurricane Ian. Became a Category 1 hurricane this morning as it continues to track off toward Florida's Gulf Coast, where it is expected to intensify into a major hurricane at a Category 4, which, by the way, they only go as high as 5. As it encroaches upon the Florida coast, even though it may not make landfall initially as a Category 4, it could still cause some significant storm surge, flooding concerns, and even a higher tornado risk. As for us, we don't have anything like that to worry about. We're dry all week. Temperatures in the 80s, mostly clear, partly cloudy skies with lows back in the 50s. We're back with more right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Derek here is the Executive Director of Feeding Incorporated. And so earlier in the show, we talked about the silent auction and dinner that's coming up a week from today at 6:30. If you missed it, don't worry. All the information on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. So we're now going to talk about what exactly Feeding Incorporated is. And honestly, that's the big open question. What do you all do?
Yes, so our vision at Feeding Incorporated is to feed, equip, empower, and restore dreams in people's lives. And we start by providing food to families and individuals in the area. That there could be food deficiency there. There's so many people that really need that help through the month. And we have people come from many different areas. We also have provided classes, and we still do. We're going to be moving probably more into that here in the near future, classes on helping people discover their purpose in life, also helping them just with finding their identity, healing through traumatic things. And then we're getting ready to start a part of business leadership classes that will help individuals that have maybe at one time had a desire to start a business, and just working with different people in the community to help us do that, so that they can just kind of really find, begin to walk out their purpose.
So this goes beyond just feeding people with food. You're feeding them with knowledge and power as well.
Yes. knowledge and understanding. I believe that there are people that, in our communities, such as ourselves and many others, that really have an assignment to help people to build their lives. There's a lot of people in life that just do not have a lot of hope, and so we want to provide hope just through our faith in God and what He has blessed us with, and to help them find their way in life.
And this is something then that benefits the community in a number of different ways. And how important is it for you all to be able to provide this service? Because we talked about the fundraiser and the fact that you need those funds. How important is the service itself?
I see it very important. Believe it or not, just in our area in Carthage, we have a 25% poverty level. 25% of our population is living at poverty level or more, and so there's a big need to try to help people get out of that cycle of poverty. And so one way we do it, we try to just help the necessity, the basic need of helping people with food, because there are so many families, mothers with children and people that have lost their jobs, people that are on limited income, elderly, they need that help. And then to begin to build their lives spiritually, emotionally, physically, so that they can make a difference in society. We believe that will ultimately impact our community if we can help them have transformed lives.
And you mentioned, 25% of the Carthage community, just in Carthage, at or below the poverty level. Do you find that there's people out there, a number of people who may be surprised to know that? Because, I know just living in the area, growing up in the area, there's a larger number of folks out there at or below the poverty level than what many may think.
Oh yes, I believe there's a lot of people that really are not aware of that. I probably was one of those before I got involved with working with Feeding Incorporated, just simply because I had a very comfortable life, a very good upbringing. And I believe that it's very important that our communities, that we really wake up to the condition of people's lives around us, and and really take action to actually do something about it. And I feel that Feeding Incorporated really is a starting point for a lot of people, in that, again, we have that food available, but again, it does go way beyond just food, and giving them knowledge and understanding, of their purpose.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Of course, as we mentioned, they've got a fundraiser, a dinner and silent auction coming up a week from today. We have the information for that on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com, and more information about Feeding Incorporated and how you can help also on our website. And again, just KOAMnewsnow.com. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. And we are taking another look at our forecast today. We've got a nice sunrise here at 7th and Range Line. Sun's getting up there pretty quickly, but we are cool. 47 in Joplin. A lot of 40s peppered on the board as we eventually will start to warm through the day. 48 Yates Center, 47 Pittsburgh, 46 in Carthage, and 45 in Monette as we start the day. We are upwards of 10 to 20 degrees cooler now than we were 24 hours ago, because we've been so unseasonably warm. It makes seasonable temperatures seem cold by comparison. Allergy sufferers, some good news too, because pollen counts are dropping. 6.2 out of 12 today, a 5.6 out of 12 for tomorrow. And as we go through the rest of today, we will eventually warm up to a high of 81 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Heading into tonight, we're going to drop back down to 53 under mostly clear skies. And then, of course, we've got all eyes on Hurricane Ian. Hurricane Ian became a Category 1 hurricane this morning, actually during our morning show, and so we are continuing to watch and look at this latest loop where you see how it intensifies as it moves over western Cuba. This is just within the last 3 or 4 hours this morning, and it will continue its track off to the northwest to Florida's West Coast. And this particular graphic shows it a little bit better. Like I said, I can't change that. I do not know why, but this is Hurricane Ian's track. Looking at a Category 4, winds 130 miles an hour, creeping up to 140 at some point. And as it nears the Florida coast, even though it may not make landfall as a major hurricane, it will be close enough that it will cause some serious concerns with flooding, storm surge, and even some tornadoes as the hurricane moves close to the west coast of Florida. For us, we stay dry, some rain showers by Wednesday way out west. Otherwise, we are clear and temperatures are at least decent for any outdoor activities. It's not until Tuesday of next week that we do see a chance of some showers and thunderstorms. Between now and then, taking a look at that 7-day forecast, we're in the 80s all week, mostly clear, partly cloudy skies. Temperatures dropping back into the 50s for overnight lows. Now, here's Tanya Bach with Consumer Watch.
That's right. In Consumer Watch this morning, with fall temperatures here in many parts of the country, Americans are bracing for higher home heating bills. Families are expected to pay an average of 17% more for home heat this coming season compared to last winter. And those who heat with natural gas are facing the highest increase of more than 34% this season. Heating oil is expected to increase nearly 13% for an average cost of more than $2,100 this winter. Electric heat is expected to see a 7% increase. First-time applications for low-income home energy assistance are up 60%. The Biden administration is asking Congress for additional funding to help low-income families stay warm this winter. America's iconic automobile brand Ford is unable to make deliveries of some of its best-selling vehicles. The shortage of computer chips is one reason, but another supply chain problem is a little unexpected. The automaker does not have enough of the blue oval Ford brand badges that go on the front of the vehicle. Wow. Ford has delayed deliveries of a number of vehicles because they're waiting for the blue oval badges that go on them. Ford officials won't say how many of the 40,000 vehicles stuck in inventory are waiting parts due to the nameplate shortage. The company has tried some workarounds like using 3D printing to make the Ford insignia. Supply chain issues like this one may account for some of the reasons why Ford's stock is down 41% in 2022. Well, more supply chain issues, this time possibly involving beer. A shortage of aluminum cans and carbon dioxide could be the next supply chain issue to vex American consumers. Brewers also point to rising prices of malted barley and hops, as well as transportation, impact their bottom line. Beer prices are up 5% so far this year, which is not as high as food cost at 11%. But the Brewers Association say all the trends are against them and some breweries could even be forced to close. Industry experts are not sure that will result in shortages necessarily, but the variety and selection could definitely be more limited. We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. Well, this morning, we're discussing planetary defense.
And NASA looks to smash a spacecraft into an asteroid that's nearly 7 million miles away from the Earth. This craft is about the size of a vending machine, and it's called DART, and it'll be flying 14,000 miles an hour when it slams into a small moon orbiting the asteroid Didymos.
The impact will not destroy Dimorphos, but it will nudge it off its course by as much as 10 minutes. Evidence suggests one or more asteroids caused the mass extinction of dinosaurs on Earth. NASA says the DART mission is just the first in a series of experiments that will better prepare mankind to save the world from unknown threats.
And that brings us to our morning talker this morning. Do you think that we should be spending money on planetary defense? So far, 52% of you say yes, 48% say no. You, of course, vote through our website, through the app, and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page.
All right. Well, Space Force, the newest branch of the U.S. military, finally gets an official song, but did it hit the right notes?
According to Jeannie Moose, everyone's a critic.
The Space Force had already launched its own insignia, its own uniforms, and now it's got its own song. There were a lot more watchful eyes on the internet. May the cringe be with you. New York Magazine snarked, "Let's hope the aliens aren't music critics." A military audience applauded, while a late-night audience laughed. I thought it was 100% satire and hilarious.
Are we being punked?
Posters took the liberty of adding, more interesting visuals. Even Steve Carell, who starred in the canceled Netflix series
Space Force, which Mark will run. What?
ended up having the words to the song he sang changed and new words put in his mouth. Even military.com declared it's not a banger. Air Force Chief of Staff General C.Q. Brown told the website, "I'm sure it will grow on us." This military podcaster was moved to grunt along to it. Many complained that instead of sounding futuristic,
it sounds like it's from the 1910s.
Some even noted a vintage vibe reminiscent of the old Mighty Mouse theme.
Here I come to save the day.
That means the mighty Space Force
On the way.
Genimos, CNN.
Space Force from on high.
New York.
It does have a little bit of a nostalgic
got-
ring to it.
It's a little
Yeah.
catchy. It's interesting to say the least, but okay. That's what we picked. We should have had John Williams compose it.
We should have got to vote. That'd be cool.
No. Why would we do that?
Yeah. We'll
yeah.
see.
I
I know
was
you
laughing
were
too
hoping
hard
for more
about
like
that.
a Star Trek theme
Yeah,
song or something.
and that's what I'm saying. Like even just
or something ominous from like the Star Wars like
Darth Vader's
soundtrack.
theme might not have been a bad idea at this point. I mean, that's kind of the theme that's playing over everybody who doesn't seem to like it. So.
Or what about Jaws? You know, or no?
I don't know if that's an even better idea. Something that will be somewhat pleasurable is our forecast, a little more pleasant. 47 degrees in Joplin. Doesn't look like it out there, but it is as the sun comes up. 40s across the board in a lot of places. 49 Iola, Fort Scott, 46 Nevada, Lamar, and Carthage as we start today, putting us 10 to 20 degrees cooler than where we were yesterday at this time. And for allergy sufferers, some good news. The pollen counts are down, 6.2 out of 12 today, and a 5.6 out of 12 for tomorrow. Ha-ha. I almost confused myself. 81 is the high we're aiming for today under partly cloudy skies, and we'll drop back down to an overnight low of 53 degrees under mostly clear skies. And a check at the 7-day forecast. Not good news for the drought situation, but outdoor plans are a go for the entire week as we stay in the 80s under mostly clear to partly cloudy skies and 50s for the most part for overnight lows, except for Wednesday, trying to be a little cooler, lows in the upper 40s. We're back after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. All 67 counties in Florida are under a state of emergency as residents prepare for tropical storm turned into Category 1 Hurricane Ian. The storm is turning in the Caribbean and forecasters expect it will hit western Cuba by Tuesday. Ian is expected to strike the U.S., make landfall somewhere between Tampa Bay and the Florida Panhandle, but officials say all or most of Florida will be impacted by high winds and storm surge. Hundreds of thousands of people along Canada's Atlantic coast have no electricity following a hit from former Hurricane Fiona. It came ashore over the weekend as a powerful post-tropical cyclone, still at hurricane strength, sweeping away homes, uprooting giant trees, and killing at least one woman. Recovery efforts continue in Puerto Rico, where Fiona has knocked out power and caused several severe flooding on the island. Fiona caused at least 5 deaths in the Caribbean. And Rihanna will be headlining the Super Bowl halftime show this year. The singer declined to perform in 2019 out of solidarity with former San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick, who protested police brutality against black people by kneeling during the national anthem. Super Bowl 57 will take place in Glendale, Arizona on February 12th.
Quick check of our forecast. Will be partly cloudy today, 71 at noon, 75 at 5, 65 by 8. Partly cloudy skies with a high of 81. Temperatures drop off gradually back down, 59 at 11, 56 at 2 a.m. with an overnight low of 53 degrees under mostly clear skies. And a look at the 7-day forecast shows us where there's no rain, which is not good for the drought situation, but if you got outdoor plans, now's the time to do it. We'll be in the 80s all week long, mostly clear, partly cloudy skies, and for the most part, overnight lows hovering around the lower to mid 50s.
With apple picking season underway, it's no surprise Monday is, which is today, National Johnny Appleseed Day.
Now, September 26th marks the birthday of the man credited with planting apple trees across America.
His real name was John Chapman, born in Leominster, Massachusetts, back in 1774.
Now, from there, he moved on to propagate apple seeds in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Ohio, and Indiana.
Eventually, he started orchards in Illinois, Iowa, Michigan, and Wisconsin.
Many cities across those states honor Johnny Appleseed with parks or monuments.
To celebrate the great nursery man's birthday, pick some apples or bite into a golden, delicious, or caramel apple.
I do enjoy a good apple.
Caramel apples are so good.
They are very good. Well, thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We're back with more news and weather at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.